Together with my archenemy, we find ourselves ensnared in an ABO world. I am an alpha, while he is an omega. I laugh maniacally, reveling in my psychic prowess as I mercilessly torment him. However, the poised and aloof man seizes my throat, sinking his teeth into my shoulder, and forcefully thrusts against me. Darling, there's a possibility for an omega to mutate into an alpha, you know. You've bullied me for so many days. Now it's my turn. Did I ask it deep enough? Can you still take it? I weep as I attempt to crawl away, only to be dragged back once more. Goodness, wasn't it said that rabbit beast men are rather brief in stature? Yet here, with Shen Qinghuai, it seems he has reached straight to my very core. Woe is me. 1. Awakening from slumber, I found myself inexplicably transported into the ABO world alongside my sworn rival. The good news: I am an alpha and he is an omega. The bad news: we are both in our rutting phase. At this moment, the narrow cave is suffused with the intoxicating scent of pheromones. A rosy hue tinges Shen Qinghuai's usually stoic face, his eyes glistening with moisture, and a fluffy little tail wags behind him. Goodness, why is this somewhat adorable? I feel an urge to pet him. Noticing my gaze, Shen Qinghuai's deep-set eyes darken, his voice husky. Control your eyes. What a picture of a chaste and noble man. Control my gaze? Absolutely not. Having entered the ABO realm, am I to be intimidated by you? Not only will I gaze upon you, but I shall also lay hands upon you. With a mischievous grin, I reached out to stroke his rabbit ears. Who would have thought our aloof campus heartthrob would turn into a rabbit spirit? Oh my, this pheromone is so strong. Let me take a whiff. The texture beneath my palm is smooth, the rabbit ears soft, and coupled with Shen Qinghuai's expression, they appear inexplicably endearing. The air is laced with a hint of red wine, exuding a sense of sophistication. I sniffed again, my expression shifting. What the hell, you've transformed into a little O. So why the exquisite red wine pheromone? Shouldn't a little O be sweet and soft, like milk candy? Shen Qinghuai's expression turned peculiar. Are you referring to yourself? I? Shen Qinghuai exhaled softly, a smirk of revenge gracing his lips, speaking deliberately. I'm talking about you. Your pheromone is reminiscent of milk candy. Oh, and strawberry milk candy, no less. 2. Milk candy-scented alpha? Who, me? I scanned the cramped cave to ensure we were indeed alone, reluctantly accepting the reality. What a painful revelation. I was on the verge of indignation. Besides my frustration, the potent pheromones swirling in the air ignited my temper. With a downward glance, I noticed something stirring between my legs. Just then, Shen Qinghuai glanced over as well. 3. Seeking assistance. I am not gay, yet I find myself aroused by my sworn enemy. What to do? In the ABO world, what are the methods for alleviating the rut? Something about temporary and permanent markings. Perhaps. I ground my teeth, my gaze roaming over Shen Qinghuai's neck. Where would be the best place for a marking? The nape? The collarbone? The Adam's apple? Shen Qinghuai, sensing my thoughts, coldly replied, "Don't even think about it." I waved my hand dismissively. "Oh, come on, don't be so rigid. We're both modern youths with progressive thoughts. Consider it as merely a mosquito bite." Shen Qinghuai remained unwilling. Yet, in this moment, leveraging the inherent physical dominance of an alpha over an omega, I easily overpowered him. Leaning down, I bit at the nape of his neck. The closer I drew, the more potent the scent of red wine became. I felt nearly lightheaded, instinctively compelled to continue kissing the person beneath me. The next moment, I was kicked away by Shen Qinghuai. His expression was frosty, his thin lips pressed into a straight line. "Pei, have you lost your mind?" The blush on his face vanished, reverting to his usual cold demeanor. As for myself, my fervor remained unabated, only intensifying. The arousal beneath me was unbearable, making me want to cry. Why was I still in this state after marking Shen Qinghuai? With my last shred of rationality, I reluctantly sought his help. Why am I still feeling so awful? For Shen Qinghuai regarded me, a mocking smile gracing his lips. Feeling awful is precisely correct. A temporary mark is a solution for alleviating my rut. You can only use suppressants or find an omega to bed. I fell silent. In this desolate wilderness, where could I possibly find a suppressant? Find an omega to bed? Shen Qinghuai? If I dared to make a move, he'd likely sever that part of me. I cradled my head in despair, on the verge of tears. Shen Qinghuai's long fingers reached out, gripping the back of my collar and dragging me out of the cave. The wind blew, diluting the intense pheromones slightly. I felt a bit better, exhaling a sigh of relief. Looking up, I caught sight of Shen Qinghuai's nape. On that pale, delicate skin, there were a few vivid red marks, strikingly conspicuous. Paired with Shen Qinghuai's exquisite features, it bore an inexplicable allure. I unconsciously licked my lips, yearning for another bite. Realizing the thoughts swirling in my mind, I hugged my head again. Damn it, I am indeed a straight man. Cursed ABO, cursed rutting phase. This is coercing me into depravity. 5. Shen Qinghuai, relying on his acute sense of direction, led me down the mountain to find a hospital, where he procured a suppressant for me. As I watched him pull out his phone to make the payment, I rummaged through my own pockets. Opening my balance revealed a mere zero. 18. Peering over at Shen Qinghuai's, there was a string of numbers that I couldn't even count. Having crossed over, why the disparity in treatment? Sigh. Following the address from his phone, Shen Qinghuai brought me to his apartment. Homeless, I shamelessly trailed behind him. Brother Shen, considering we're both from the same hometown, please take me in. Shen Qinghuai did not refuse, and I swiftly entered his abode. Although I had taken a suppressant, I still felt restless. I sprawled on the bed like a lifeless dog, contemplating what to do next. When Shen Qinghuai came to call me for dinner, he entered the room with a frown. Pei, could you please contain your pheromones? I felt wronged. I want to, but there's no way to do so. I got up and moved closer to Shen Qinghuai, feeling a bit better. Brother Shen, can I hold you while I sleep tonight? 6. Shen Qinghuai's rabbit ears twitched, and he bluntly refused. No. I gazed at him with pleading eyes, but I really feel awful. Shen Qinghuai, are you trying to act cute with me? I awkwardly cleared my throat. I suppose so. It was truly unbearable. Only by being closer to Shen Qinghuai could I find relief. As for my pride, I cast it aside for the moment. Shen Qinghuai turned away, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. Let's eat first, we can discuss it later. I paid little mind to when he would revisit the topic. After washing up, I lay down on his bed. When Shen Qinghuai walked in, his expression paused, as if he were somewhat at a loss for words. I asserted confidently, I performed a temporary marking for you. In the spirit of reciprocity, you should help me too. 7. Shen Qinghuai, exasperated under the moral duress I imposed, did not resist too much against my requests for some affectionate gestures. In the dead of night, surrounded by his scent, I found it increasingly difficult to sleep. Brother Shen, you smell so good. Brother Shen, your lips look incredibly kissable. Brother Shen, are you feeling cold? I have something warm to help you. Shen Qinghuai gritted his teeth. Pei, don't overreach. To prevent me from idling at home and potentially engaging in some unsavory behavior, Shen Qinghuai arranged a job for me. His company had countless branches, and he found me a position at the nearest one. Each day, I would rise, step outside, and cross the street to arrive. After signing a contract for a monthly salary of 50,000, I was quite pleased to start work. However, on my first day at the office, someone attempted to seduce me. You look quite delectable. A tall, muscular man obstructed my path, licking his lips as he uttered those words. I thought to myself, no, my dear fellow, in this day and age, can a man also experience sexual harassment? I attempted to clarify, I am an alpha. He leered at me, is that so? I failed to notice, but an AA combination could work. I wouldn't mind. You appear quite appetizing, very much to my taste, he continued, reaching out to take liberties with me. Alarmed, I exclaimed, please no, this is futile. Unfazed, the lecherous man began to emit pheromones, bombarding me with an overwhelming scent of cumin mixed with an unpleasant odor, causing me to cough. What the hell is this, your pheromone? Is that body odor I detect? Get away from me. Due to the surge of emotions, I inadvertently released pheromones I had yet to learn to control. The sweet scent of milk candy somewhat alleviated the persistent cumin odor. The man inhaled deeply. Are you trying to seduce me? As he licked his lips and pouted, preparing to kiss me, I thought, what in the world? Was he out of his mind? I realized just how excessive my actions towards Shen Qinghuai had been the day before. How utterly revolting. In my despair, I resorted to the martial arts techniques I had learned years ago, delivering 2 quick punches to him. Get lost, you scoundrel. I am a genuine man. The lecherous man hissed, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth with his thumb. I assumed he would retreat, but instead, he grinned wickedly. Ah, delightful little beauty, strike me again. Damn it, even a couple of hits made him feel pleasure. I longed to slap him, fearing he might lick my hand in return. Reasoning proved futile, and striking him was ineffective. In desperation, I invoked Shen Qinghuai's name. I am in a relationship with your General Shen. The lecherous man seemed to think he misheard, digging in his ears. What? General Shen? He scrutinized me, scoffing. If you were truly with General Shen, then I must be his father. Such a familiar display of arrogance. Was I truly destined to encounter a dim-witted antagonist? He continued, as a supervisor with 3 years at Shen's company, I've never even seen General Shen. You waltz in claiming to be his partner. Your audacity is remarkable. If you were truly General Shen's alpha, would he allow you to work at the front desk? Surely, he would assign you management over several companies? You wouldn't fabricate rumors just because this is a branch office and General Shen seldom visits, would you? What's wrong with working at the front desk? Did it offend you? Shen Qinghuai indeed contemplated assigning me to manage several companies, but why should I agree? Is it enjoyable to rise early and toil over documents? Being a receptionist, idly passing the time while earning 50,000 a month. Now that is bliss. I pulled out the contract I had signed that very morning to show him. I earn 50,000 a month. Have you ever seen anyone without connections earning that much? He leaned in, glanced at it, and retorted, fake. If you earn 50,000 a month, then I earn 100. It was futile to reason with such a dim-witted character. I called Shen Qinghuai, and his secretary answered, stating he was in a meeting. I wore a long face. Then please inform him that if he doesn't come soon, his fellow townsmen will be ravaged in the branch office. While saying this, I kicked the encroaching lecherous man away. Get lost. Don't you have anything better to do? You spent an entire morning with your mind clouded by lust for me? When Shen Qinghuai finally arrived, my outer garment had already been stripped away by the lecherous man. I had resisted, but he was stronger than me. My punches barely fazed him, and the more I hit him, the more he seemed to enjoy it. Lying there in despair, I looked towards Shen Qinghuai as tears welled in my eyes. Save me. Shen Qinghuai's expression was cold as he immediately yanked the man off me. Yet this man, driven by desire, showed no restraint upon seeing Shen Qinghuai. Where did this little O come from? So spicy, I like it. He turned to me, disdainfully saying, your attempts at teasing have gone too far. I no longer want you. I fancy him now. I thought, oh, if you fancy him, then so be it. As if just because you fancy someone, you can have them. He ceased paying attention to me, directing all his focus towards Shen Qinghuai. I adore your domineering nature. Little O, come, take me. Shen Qinghuai, with a cold expression, slapped him. I barely had time to stop him. Don't slap him, fearing he would revel in it. Indeed, the next moment, the muscular man wore a look of ecstasy. Delightful. The hand of a little O is truly unique, so soft and fragrant. I love it. Shen Qinghuai remained unyielding towards the lecherous man. Each time the man expressed pleasure, Shen Qinghuai responded with another resounding slap until the man's face resembled that of a pig, drooling uncontrollably. Shen Qinghuai, typically composed and rarely angered, now wore a thoroughly frosty countenance. His gaze as cold as ice. Still enjoying yourself? The pig-headed man, covering his face, cried like a boiling kettle. No longer enjoyable. No longer. I won't dare again. I could hardly bear to watch. Shen Qinghuai's hands, with clearly defined joints and prominent veins, emanated strength. His large hands surely delivered significant force, inflicting considerable pain. How could that foolish pig still utter words of softness and fragrance? As I listened to the man's lamentations, my thoughts wandered. Shen Qinghuai's hands were so large and powerful. A slap to the backside would surely hurt, right? No, what am I thinking? Goodness, is this it? Just 2 days in this world, and I am already being assimilated? Once Shen Qinghuai finished with the man, he turned to me with a feigned benevolent smile. And you? Would you like some pleasure? Quickly shook my head. I dare not. Shen Qinghuai replied. Then why are you still standing there? Gather your things and come with me. I will deal with you later tonight. Deal with me? How would he deal with me? I hesitated and he caught on. With a cold chuckle, his voice clear and icy, he warned, Pei E. Do you know that O's can also mutate into A's? Isn't that what you desire? Tonight we shall test it. If you dare to run, I will break your legs and lock you to the bed. I was left utterly speechless. I had no idea what Shen Qinghuai had been through. How could he, after just 1 morning apart, speak of O's mutating into A's? Recalling my excessive actions towards him last night, coupled with the lecherous man's words and actions today, I felt a growing unease. Surely, Shen Qinghuai would not genuinely entertain such notions? Initially, we were bitter rivals, constantly bickering at school, occasionally resorting to physical altercations. Yet he always appeared indifferent, leaving me the one seething with frustration. Aside from my recent arrival, I had taken the liberty of marking him temporarily, thinking myself an alpha. In all other conflicts, he had triumphed more often than not. I cautiously observed Shin Qinghuai's expression, attempting to ingratiate myself with a smile. Brother Shin, considering that incident yesterday, even if you're angry, you wouldn't go so far as to take advantage of me, would you? After all, we are both men. Look at the trouble this has caused. Shin Qinghuai parted his thin lips, a mocking expression on his face. So now you acknowledge we are both men? Yet last night, when you were harassing me, why didn't you say that? Alas, was it not merely a moment of venting without consideration for the consequences? I shall never dare to act thus again. My heart weeps, almost transforming me into a figure of sorrow. Yet my dignity forbids me from displaying such weakness before my adversary. Thus, I donned a stern expression and accompanied Shin Qinghuai to the headquarters. Upon our entrance, the employees could not help but scrutinize me alongside Shin Qinghuai. One gaze, in particular, was especially malevolent. Being sensitive to malice, I quickly identified its source. It belonged to a remarkably handsome youth, appearing diminutive and frail, akin to delicate water. His rabbit-like eyes, upon meeting mine, momentarily concealed their hostility, reverting to clarity. He held a document in hand and extended it toward Shin Qinghuai, inquiring, Mr. Shen, where have you been? Mr. Liu is still waiting. Is this the fellow you mentioned over the phone? Mr. Shen, he seems of lowly status, and even his mental prowess appears quite feeble. It would be prudent for you to maintain some distance from such a person. Shin Qinghuai's voice was calm, yet his words carried an undertone of displeasure. Secretary Luo, your remarks are rather excessive. My personal affairs are not for you to comment upon. What a relief. It must be this way, so straightforward. That insufferable green tea, acting as if she can sow discord at our very first meeting. What relationship could she possibly have with Shin Qinghuai? Is it one defined by constant bickering? Suddenly, a wave of panic washed over me. Wait, when has Shin Qinghuai ever shown me such leniency, even speaking up for me? Has he, too, been swayed by this world and developed feelings for me? Everyone witnessed Shin Qinghuai's reprimand of Secretary Luo. None dared to cast aspersions upon me thereafter. With a heavy heart, I followed him into his office. Shin Qinghuai seemed somewhat agitated as he loosened his tie. There are rooms inside. You may rest. I was taken aback. You brought me all the way here just to let me rest? Noticing my hesitation, he pinched the bridge of his nose and asked, What's wrong? Did you not sleep well last night? I tugged at the hem of my clothing, feeling bashful. Why are you suddenly so kind to me? Please, do not say it is because you are tempted by my body. I still consider myself a straight man, uninterested in such matters. Shin Qinghuai's lips straightened, devoid of emotion as he replied, I have business to attend to, and your presence here hinders my work efficiency. Ah, so I am merely an eyesore to him. Why do I feel a twinge of disappointment? Shin Qinghuai stared at me for 2 seconds, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. Have you not always espoused the virtue of taking it easy? Why inquire about resting now? Or do you wish to stay awake and engage in something with me here? I fled in haste. That beast, Shin Qinghuai. His words remained as sharp as ever. I despised the way he can so easily manipulate me. I pushed open the concealed door to find a double bed, with a floor-to-ceiling window revealing the bustling city streets below. Perfect for some playful distraction. No, what am I thinking? I shook my head vigorously, attempting to purge my mind of such thoughts. Using too much force, I felt dizzy and collapsed onto the bed, presenting an awkward position. Shin Qinghuai entered, holding snacks and fruits he had prepared for me. Upon seeing my pose, he fell silent for a moment. It seems you truly wish to engage in something with me. I hurriedly covered myself. No, I merely lost my balance. Having just taken a suppressant yesterday, I am not so easily stirred. Shin Qinghuai placed a hand to his forehead. Before you speak such things, could you not contain your overpowering pheromones? I grimaced. It is not that I do not wish to, but I genuinely cannot. He set the items down and approached me, his cool fingers poking my forehead. Control it here, not, he said, lowering his hand to grasp my sensitive area. Not here. I jolted back, only to find his grip still ensnaring me, and yanked away, wincing in pain. Shin Qinghuai released me, unflinching. Should you attempt to rise against me again, I shall sever it. Under Shin Qinghuai's threat, I swiftly mastered the art of pheromone control, the speed comparable to that of a rocket. Given that I was living under his roof, I adjusted my attitude and ceased to regard him as my nemesis. Shen Qinghuai had mentioned he would deal with me that evening, but in truth, he worked late into the night. Ultimately, he did not return home, opting instead to share the office with me for the night. He had noted that O has a chance of evolving into a, yet the occasional scent of his pheromones still wafted to me, fragrant as ever. Perhaps he was seeking a method for his transformation. Fearing I might become idle, Shen Qinghuai assigned me some tasks. Thus, each day we sat across from one another in the office, each at our own computer, the atmosphere remaining rather harmonious. Today, we held 2 international meetings, concluding earlier than expected. As he organized documents, he remarked, "Change your clothes. I'll take you out for dinner today. Perhaps a reward for my efforts over the past month." He drove while I sat in the back seat, engrossed in my phone.
Shan Winkwei Siket, P.
Sit in the front next time. Why? Does sitting in the back hurt your pride? Do you feel like a chauffeur? Such a fragile ego, unable to withstand a mere backseat. This boss revels in such pointless formalities. It is not that. You smile too harshly. It would be easier for me to slap you if you sat in the front. Is that so? Am I not allowed to laugh at all? How could I have ever thought he harbored feelings for me? I must have been blinded by foolishness. Dinner was not to be had. It seemed Shen Qinghuai had entered his heat. When I opened his door after changing, the intoxicating aroma of red wine nearly overwhelmed me. He reclined against the headboard, beads of sweat dampening his bangs. Upon seeing me, he swept his hair aside, revealing pale lips that betrayed a hint of fragility. Contrasting his pale lips, his cheeks burned a vibrant red, as if they might bleed. Hidden amidst his dark hair were 2 trembling rabbit ears, lending him a pitiable appearance. I hesitated, taking 2 steps closer. Should I temporarily mark you again? Shen Qinghuai fixed his gaze upon me, desire burning in his eyes. I sensed a difference from his previous state of arousal. Last time he was a soft little bunny. This time he resembled a fierce, solitary wolf. Struggling to catch his breath, he uttered words that astonished me. Temporary marking is futile. I have evolved into an A. My pupils dilated in shock, and I quickly covered my backside. What? I cannot help you. I will go out and procure a suppressant for you. Wait here. If you truly cannot hold back, you may resort to using your fingers. At my words, Shen Qinghuai chuckled softly, his voice hoarse and eyes glistening with unshed tears as he quietly asked, "Pei, do you not think it is a tad too late for you to run away now?" Before I could grasp the implication behind his words, I found myself pinned down. The searing heat of his masculine form pressed against me, igniting a fire within. I pushed against him. "Shen Qinghuai, calm down. We are both men, and we are both as. There will be no conclusion for us. To me, if it is you, I would willingly accept no conclusion. This is it." He has completely lost his mind, speaking such words. One might assume he has harbored secret affections for me for years. Desperately, I clutched the bed sheets and attempted to crawl away, only to be yanked back by his grip on my waist. "Pei, were you not quite audacious when you had me pinned down? Why the sudden retreat now? How is it that I haven't even begun to bully you, yet you are already at your wit's end? I have heard that AA also has a bonding mechanism. Why don't we give it a try tonight?" Damn. Ever since he transformed into an A, his strength has become immense, and I find myself unable to break free, sobbing quietly. He leans down to kiss the nape of my neck, his voice tender. "Darling, would you prefer it from the front or the back, or perhaps both?" I wish for none of it, truly. I struggle desperately, like a fish out of water, exerting all my might, yet I remain trapped. The heat of his desire presses against my lower back. I weep, genuinely weep. I am not prepared to embrace my identity as a gay man. However, under the intoxicating influence of Shen Qinghuai's pheromones, my body begins to heat up, unmistakably signaling the onset of my estrus. Sensing the pheromones I exude, Shen Qinghuai turns me around and places a kiss at the corner of my lips, his voice laced with longing. "Darling, how sweet." I am caught off guard by his kiss, and the anticipated feelings of disgust and nausea fail to materialize. In fact, amidst the intertwining of our pheromones, his lips feel like a refreshing oasis in a parched desert. It seems I am not averse to his closeness. In fact, I find myself somewhat enjoying it. Ultimately, Shen Qinghuai manages to restrain himself. Despite his eyes turning red and the veins on his forehead bulging, he releases me. That kiss, filled with yearning, lands softly on my forehead instead. He says, Pei, I will wait for the day you are truly willing. I am momentarily stunned, then hurriedly get off the bed to procure suppressants for him. The shop attendant, assuming I am the one in need, gently reminds me, I advise you to communicate more with your partner. Prolonged use of suppressants is not advisable. I thank her, contemplating, and decide to purchase a few extra vials. I bring them back to stockpile, intending to administer them ahead of time to prevent another episode of lost composure. Upon returning home, I find Shun Qinghuai lying on the bed, already unconscious. I quickly administer a disinfectant injection to him. After a while, I give myself a shot as well. Though I am reluctant to admit it, just moments ago, I indeed entered my estrus prematurely because of Shun Qinghuai. As I gaze at his pale face, I smooth his tousled hair, a pang of pain pricking my heart unexpectedly. With his overwhelming strength, he could easily have taken advantage of me, just as I had forcibly marked him at the beginning. Only through experience can one truly comprehend the unbearable torment of estrus, as if flames are consuming one's very being. Yet, Shun Qinghuai chose to endure, unwilling to harm me. Does he truly hold deep feelings for me? Due to the late administration of the suppressants, Shun Qinghuai's condition has not improved significantly. He has developed a low-grade fever. The company does not halt operations due to his illness. Each day, he must tackle numerous documents and attend many meetings. I feel a sense of guilt and strive to alleviate his burdens. Shun Qinghuai observes this with a deepening smile in his eyes. Pei, you need not feel guilty. What happened that night was my unilateral coercion. I am the one who owes you an apology. I shoot him a glare, be quiet. My heart is already in disarray, and his incessant chatter only adds to the chaos. He takes a sip of water, his lips glistening with moisture, appearing irresistibly kissable. I dare not linger my gaze, pretending nothing has occurred as I step away. Behind me, I can hear his low chuckle. I find myself in distress. Even without the influence of Shun Qinghuai's pheromones, I still experience involuntary arousal. This arousal is unpredictable, occurring at random times and places. My face contorts in frustration, and I hesitate to approach Shun Qinghuai. Added to my irritation is his ambiguous demeanor. During his third estrus, I failed to provide him with the suppressants in a timely manner. He did not get angry, but instead looked at me with a mix of helplessness and affection. I huffed twice, raising the suppressant in my hand. Did you drop this golden suppressant or this silver one? Shun Qinghuai replies, you dropped your suppressant. My mind races. Could you refrain from making everything sound suggestive? We've nearly written an entire chapter of innuendos. Damn it, the world of ABO is utterly infuriating. It's either estrus season or a lead up to it. Seeing my annoyance, Shun Qinghuai clenches his fist against his lips to stifle his laughter. His eyes sparkling, Pei, don't be upset. I do not wish to quarrel with you. I retort, how about a tussle in bed? Shun Qinghuai bites his lip, and after holding back for what seems like an eternity, his laughter finally escapes the corners of his mouth. I would like that. The next day, I am cursing and grumbling, my back nearly giving out. That beast Shun Qinghuai kept me awake all night. We had clearly agreed that I would be on top. Yet when the moment came, he grinned mischievously. Darling, you only said you wanted to be on top. I allowed you to be on top. Technically, I was on top, but he was still inside me. Damn it. Must he nitpick over semantics? After resting the entire morning, I must still go to his office in the afternoon and work like a beast, brimming with resentment. When Secretary Luo sees me, she catches a whiff of Shun Qinghuai's lingering scent on me and pales, fleeing in tears. I am left bewildered. What? Is that enough to send her running? She hadn't even seen what transpired last night. Unlike my lethargy, Shun Qinghuai appears invigorated, conducting back-to-back meetings. He says, Darling, wait for me. I will wrap up these matters and take you on a honeymoon. I retort, a honeymoon? As if we have already registered our marriage. Shun Qinghuai replies, I will handle it soon, we will go register shortly. I made an appointment this morning. In the world of ABO, marriage certificates are not dissimilar to those in reality. Yet I still find it fascinating. Registering my marriage with Shun Qinghuai is a peculiar experience. Just months ago, we were at odds, arguing or fighting whenever we met. Now, we share the same bed, exchanging declarations of affection. I inquire when he realized his feelings for me, but he remains silent. However, I have a lingering suspicion that he has been planning this for quite some time. Just as night falls, he transforms, sprouting rabbit ears once more to entice me. I try to feign indifference, but honestly, I am starting to lose my resolve. Online discussions suggest that rabbit beastmen are brief. Yet Shin Qinghuai seems to reach right to my core. Is he some sort of mutant rabbit? After barely 3 seconds of contemplation, I find myself ensnared by his pheromones. I bite into his shoulder, a foolish grin spreading across my face. Brother, you smell divine. The days pass in a blissful haze. One day, I awaken to the familiar sight of the bed curtains above me. I jolt upright, startled. Simultaneously, I hear movement from the other bed. I leaned forward, locking eyes with Shin Qinghuai, and finally exhaled in relief. Are we back? Shin Qinghuai responded with a soft then elegantly swung his long legs over, landing on my bed. Outside, the sky remained shrouded in darkness. A glance at the date revealed that only half a day had passed since we had entered the ABO world. As Shin Qinghuai unlocked his phone, my keen eyes caught sight of the novel on his screen. It was the very same ABO story I had been reading. Could it be that our journey was merely a figment of our imagination? A shared dream inspired by the same narrative? Shin Qinghuai playfully bit my lip as if in punishment and asked, "And now, is it still a figment?" I widened my eyes, the sensation mirroring that of the dream. Shin Qinghuai chuckled. "Pei, upon returning, are you already contemplating abandoning me?" As he spoke, he retrieved 2 crimson booklets from his pocket, revealing our marriage certificates. "You brought these back?" I exclaimed. Shin Qinghuai sleepily closed his eyes, pulling me into his embrace. "I don't know. They were just in my pocket when I returned." Feeling drowsy myself, I decided not to dwell on it any longer. I sniffed the air, detecting no hint of wine on Shin Qinghuai, and ventured, without pheromones, "Will you still love me?" He tightened his hold, planting a gentle kiss on my lips. "Darling, you have a delightful scent, sweet and inviting." Finally, with a tender tone, he added, "My love, you are like a piece of strawberry milk candy." It was overwhelmingly sweet, resonating deep within my heart. Epilogue. Shin Qinghuai. 1. Shin Qinghuai and Pei could be considered childhood sweethearts. Their bond was close in their youth, akin to sharing a single pair of trousers. As they grew older, attending the same school, their paths frequently crossed. Pei, with his spirited personality and penchant for mischief, often struggled academically. When Shin Qinghuai's mother would meet with Pei's mother, she would look at her son with a furrowed brow. "Do you think little E will stray off course?" Hearing this, the young Shin Qinghuai, already embodying a calm and mature demeanor, reassured her, "Auntie, do not worry. I will keep my brother on the right path." Thus, whenever Pei would wander off, Shin Qinghuai would bring him back, insisting he focus on his studies. Pei, unwilling to comply, would often engage in playful scuffles with him. Eventually, as Pei began to excel academically and developed a genuine love for learning, Shin Qinghuai found himself watching over him less frequently, only to realize an emptiness had settled within him. More mature than his peers, he began to understand that he was different from other boys. While the boys in class discussed adult films, he found himself oblivious to the naked entanglements portrayed, only able to see Pei's flushed ears before him. Recognizing a change within himself, he consulted books and came to the realization that he might be gay. 2. Upon acknowledging his feelings for Pei, Shin Qinghuai deliberately distanced himself, wishing not to impact his friend negatively. Pei, perplexed by this sudden shift from their lifelong closeness to a newfound need for space, found it unreasonable. He longed to spend time with Shin Qinghuai, wishing they could be together all day. To him, Shin Qinghuai's aloofness and coldness seemed unjustified. Why should they maintain distance as they matured? What nonsense was that? They were both boys. There was no reason they couldn't be together. He blamed Shin Qinghuai's behavior on a waning affection for him, convinced that his friend no longer wished to play with him. The once inseparable companion had transformed into an impenetrable iceberg, leaving Pei feeling desolate. In response, he began to provoke Shin Qinghuai. When Shin Qinghuai no longer shared lunch with him, he told Shin's mother, "Auntie, Shin Qinghuai is dating someone at school." When Shin Qinghuai declined his help during evening duties, he remarked to Shin's mother, "Auntie, he seems to have taken a liking to a girl in class. I must be in his way." Shin Qinghuai found himself at a loss, unable to reveal his truth as a gay man, fearing it would drive Pei away. 3. The two maintained an awkward coexistence for several years. When Shin Qinghuai finally graduated high school, he contemplated taking a leap of faith, only to discover that Pei had completely withdrawn from him. Pei declared, "Don't you enjoy acting indifferent? Then continue with that charade. Besides, I have plenty of friends. I'm not reliant on you." Shun Qinghuai's hard-won courage was swiftly dashed by Pei Yi's words, leaving him retreating. He was always decisive in every aspect of life. Yet when it came to his feelings for Pei Yi, he was hesitant and cautious. But love is often devoid of logic. He did not want Pei Yi to feel burdened nor to be troubled by his own feelings. Rather than risk Pei Yi hating him for being gay, he preferred to let him think he was merely cold. At least then, when Pei Yi felt dissatisfied, he would still engage in quarrels with him. Yet one day, upon waking, both he and Pei Yi found themselves inexplicably thrust into the ABO world. He had become an O4. The good news, both were in their heat periods. The bad news, Pei Yi wished to dominate him. Shun Qinghuai understood that this impulse stemmed from a desire for revenge rather than genuine affection. Though he felt uncomfortable under Pei Yi's pressure, he did not resist excessively. If it meant being with Pei Yi in love, he could endure being an O, he thought. That night, Pei Yi, driven by his body's urges, clung to him, making Shun Qinghuai secretly elated yet fearful of succumbing to temptation and crossing boundaries. So he feigned indifference, hoping to deter Pei Yi's advances. The next day, he placed Pei Yi in a company he seldom frequented, seeking a moment of respite. However, as soon as he distanced himself, Pei Yi was harassed at the branch office. When Shun Qinghuai arrived and saw Pei Yi with his clothing askew, a surge of rage coursed through him. The one he cherished above all had nearly been forced into a compromising situation. Shun Qinghuai recognized the peril of the ABO world and vowed to keep Pei Yi close, even while sleeping, ensuring he remained within his sight. In this foreign realm, he and Pei Yi found a rare harmony, until once again he entered his heat. 5. Prior to Shun Qinghuai's transformation into an A, he had not anticipated how overwhelming an A's heat would be, encroaching upon his rationality. Had he known, he would have procured suppressants in advance. Although he ultimately managed to rein himself in, he sensed he had frightened Pei Yi, filling him with guilt. Strangely, Pei Yi's attitude towards him seemed to shift. Reflecting on the past months, Shun Qinghuai realized that his feelings for Pei Yi had become increasingly evident. Had Pei Yi noticed? After a few days of anxious contemplation, he discerned no sign of aversion from Pei Yi, emboldening him further. Once more, during his heat, he expressed his love openly. Pei Yi was momentarily taken aback, but ultimately responded positively. Shun Qinghuai savored the moment, leaving Pei Yi utterly exasperated, and before they knew it, they had returned to their original world. Pei Yi's first thought was, without pheromones, would he still love him? The person he had long desired. How could he not love? Wait, it seemed Pei Yi was perusing his diary. Shun Qinghuai, are you out of your mind? Couldn't you have confessed sooner? I'm going to tell Auntie that you've subjected me to 5 years of cold treatment. 5 years. Shun Qinghuai quickly soothed him. Darling, you are a sweet strawberry cake. You mustn't scream like that. Pei Yi. Whether I am a strawberry cake or a strawberry bomb, come at me with your life. The end of the text. Thank you for listening, and we shall meet again in the next story.